Hello and welcome to the Open Pine Podcast, a safe place to learn and grow together. Hi, my name's Connor. I'm a traditional witch and druid.
Hi, I'm Lala. I'm of the Black Indigenous people of the East Coast, United States, and I am reconnecting with my roots by way of hoodoo and learning witchcraft.
Hi, I am AV, originally from Venezuela. I am an eclectic witch that is starting to find their spiritual path.
Now,
All right, now let's get
Let's get
witching.
witching. At some point, we're going to figure it out. So we're
we
going to
will.
do be great.
Or that may just be the constant theme. Whatever.
I love it.
So, hello, everybody. This is the first episode of our new Oaken Pine podcast. We thought that it might be best to sort of just give like a little bit of an introductory as to what the channel is about, who we are, that kind of stuff. So as you heard in the beginning, we're trying to provide a safe space to learn and grow together. Each of us are from very different paths, and we're trying to sort of bring together the resources that helped us get to where we are now. And at some point in the future, we're also going to be taking a look at episodes we've already created to sort of go back over and debunk the things that we've already said, because as we all know, a spiritual or path of witchcraft or whatever path you choose or you're on right now, it's about developing yourself and growth. And that also means going back and identifying parts of yourself that are unhealthy, misinformed, ignorant, etc., and healing those parts and educating yourself so that you can continue to grow even further, right? So how about we start off? Lala, would you like to introduce yourself and what you're all about and where you are on your journey currently?
Yes. So again, I am Lala. I am the newest, I guess I could say newest or babyest witch of this bunch. Super happy to have met AB. Of course, AB introduced me to Connor, and here we are. The both of you have really helped me just, find that direction, or help me, just find that direction I want to be on, or the path that I want to go down. And you just been really supportive. So I really appreciate that. Right now, I am definitely more confident in myself than when we first met. I do still feel myself to be a novice, or, whatever word you want to use. But I am enjoying my journey, enjoying being spiritual, and just bringing that into my life every day. So I'm still on the learning side, but I'm also able to kind of share my experience and help others. So glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on our show. I mean, like, well, being a part of our show, rather.
Yes.
I mean, like, I'm really happy that we have like people from all different walks and like interests and different influences. That's really exciting, quite honestly.
Important.
So AB, tell us about yourself.
So my name is Anibal, but typically known as AB, as you can see also underneath my image, my photo, the video, whatever. The title is AB Witch Journal because I've been creating content as well on social media. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. My practice itself, as in now, I consider that is very eclectic. I am originally from Venezuela, as I mentioned, and my goal, my intention was to dive more in the brujeria aspect. However, because I haven't been trained yet within those aspects of the culture, the much that I know is what I remember that my family did, plus what I've had the opportunity to study. I don't take the name of brujo. So as in now, my practice is pretty much eclectic. What I've learned, what I have been able to study. I've been practicing for 5 years, and one of my teachers, because definitely is a teacher, I did take classes with him, is Jason Miller, more focused on sorcery, specifically connecting and working directly with Saint Cyprian. So that's where my practice is at as in now.
Very cool. And I am, of course, Connor. I've been sort of on the witchcraft journey for quite a few years, maybe let's say about 10 years or so now. Now, that being said, I'm certainly not like a high priest or anything like that. All of us are generally sort of like either beginner or sort of mid. None of us are necessarily like teachers in our own right, but we're all sort of just here to all learn together and share resources. So myself, I've taken training within Druidry, and I am currently being trained in British Gardnerian Wicca, which is exciting. But most of my practice up until now has been mostly eclectic, focusing on Gaelic or Celtic practices, being Scottish and Irish. But a lot of it is like pretty traditional, I would say. I also include animism as part of my practice, as well as ancestral veneration whenever I can. So awesome.
Yes. I love
Very
it.
nice, very sexy. We love
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
So what kind of resources would you guys say have gotten you, or what kind of like influences or resources have gotten you to where you are currently?
Yeah. So what I started out with, well, just to give a little bit more background about myself, I was raised as a Baptist Christian. I was raised in the Baptist church. There were some situations that made me say, you know, maybe I have to step away from this and find my own spiritual journey. So I've always been very spiritual in the sense of believing in a higher power, you know, believing in something. So I actually, you know, started studying holistic health. Like, okay, especially with COVID, when COVID happened, you know, everybody stressed out, you know,
Definitely.
sports wasn't
Mhm.
on and we couldn't go mingle and, you know, everybody was losing their mind, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to learn, you know, how I can be more holistic, how I can be more organic, natural. So I took a few classes at the University of Central Florida for holistic health. So I learned a lot about Eastern medicine, you know, because this is holistic health, and you know, everything as a whole is nothing new in Eastern medicine, but it's pretty new in Western medicine. So that's what got me down that rabbit hole. And then I met AB, and AB's like, girl, we gotta talk, you know. So I was like, yes, I love it. I love it. But you know, not to be cheesy, you know, at a young age, I loved movies like The Craft. Oh my gosh, that was my favorite movie. You know, light as a
Same.
feather, stiff as a board. You know, we all, and
I'm sorry, I have not seen that yet.
oh my gosh, you have to watch the
I
one
know,
from
I'm
the
behind.
90s
The
and the
audacity.
new one. It's a great movie, you know, it's just
Yes.
good entertainment. So I've always been intrigued, you know, I've always been intrigued, and I've always been open to, my mind is very open, you know, I believe that there's not just one path. You know, I respect everybody's beliefs, and you know, and I want everyone to find, you know, their own journey in their own way. But yes, I just really started out by taking classes. I love to read. So anytime someone can recommend a book to me, I'll read it. And that's what I really do. It's so funny that we're doing a podcast because I'm not like a big social media person, but I am
Me neither.
becoming that. Yeah, it's so strange, right? But I love the presence that's out there. If you get on Facebook, if you go to IG, TikTok, people are practicing, and there's a lot that you can learn out there from others. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right. So are there like any books currently you're like really into, or like current books that like helped you get to where you are right now?
Yeah. So I have my stack of books here. To kind of just start from, you know, the very beginning, I started out by reading The Art of Happiness.
Mhm.
This is not by the Dalai Lama. It's written by Howard C. Cutler. He's a psychiatrist. So it takes like a psychological perspective on what is happiness. How can I achieve happiness? And I think that that was a good start, because you know, whenever you're on a spiritual journey, you're trying to find balance, right? You're trying to find peace, you're trying to find
Absolutely.
happiness. So this really helped me just, and I've always been like a really empathetic, like, you know, just patient person and understanding. So a lot of what was in this book, I already had an understanding, but it just really kind of went deeper. So I really love this book. And then meditation. I got into meditating because meditation is very important. It does help with your spiritual journey. So I read this book, May I Sit With You by Tom Catton. And he is by far like a spiritual guru, or, if you want to, put it in those terms. He was he is a substance abuse counselor. So he really helped give good techniques on how to meditate and just restart yourself, restart your soul. So that's what I started with. I just started like, how can I learn more about meditation? How can I learn more about what's bigger than me, And then being that I am a Black girl in America, I was like, well, let me research my roots and, just see what, African people, what they practice. And that led me down the path of learning about Orishas, goddesses, and voodoo queens. This is by Lilith Dorsey. I like her because I understand that her books are really for like, they're good for beginners. She really gives a good understanding of everything. So, and
Lily
she has a
Dorsey
ton
is
of books.
incredible. Yeah,
Yes,
she's incredible.
yes. This book is basically like she gives an introduction of, herself and her practice, but she really gives basically a compendium, is that the right word? Or like an encyclopedia of all the Orishas, goddesses, and so you can just learn who they are. You may find one that you connect with, and she goes into how you do need to find a teacher before you start working with certain deities and whatnot. And then because my final book, because I have become very intrigued with hoodoo. The reason why I became intrigued with hoodoo is because again, I am a Black girl, indigenous to the United States, as far as I can trace my roots back. And so hoodoo is a mixture of African cultures and traditions, American cultures and traditions, Christianity. It's what you make it. So that's why I really became intrigued. So I came across this big book. It's basically 3 books in one. Hoodoo for Life by Angeli, is it Ballard? Sorry, I'm bad with names. But it's a 3-in-1 book about what is hoodoo first, just explaining where it comes from, how it came to be, and then it leads into how you can practice and how you can evolve. So yes.
My path, similar to Lala, I began as a Christian person. I was raised as a Christian person. I was raised in the Catholic faith. Then we went on to Protestantism. So we became Pentecostal. And for me, the spirituality was never an issue. I do feel that I was very deeply spiritually connected since I was a kid. The issue was religion. The issue was the brainwashing type of situation, especially growing up queer, growing up as a spiritually inclined person. My grandma and my great aunt, they were very witchy, but they never called themselves bruja. They were Catholic women of faith. And they were very religious. And at the time to do stuff, they were not talking about witchcraft or brujeria. No, this is how we do it. This is our faith. So my mom, being very Christian, she was like, you are not going to learn anything like that. My great aunt was trying to teach me how to read Baraja Española, Spanish cards. My mom did not allow it. Pretty much I had the opportunity to start learning more about the spirituality and other branches of faith than just Christianity after being independent, I guess. So I think that my path began with a mix of YouTube, Tumblr, and Pinterest. That's the reality.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that because I was studying theology, Christian theology before, I do have to say that I have a base of, okay, that's good to read this information here, but where is the sauce? Where is the source?
Yeah.
Where is the good source, the bibliography? Where is the historical context? And I thankfully was able to start moving around those elements without difficulty. Okay, maybe Pinterest doesn't work. Let's start looking for sources. Let's go to books. the first book of witchcraft that it was not witchcraft related, that I do remember reading from beginning to end, and I know that Connor was going to talk about it. It's Honoring Your Ancestors, because my first issue was, how can I begin practicing something that is respectful to other practices? Because I definitely do not want to what could be the word, appropriate for something that something that is not mine. And as a Latino person, it's complicated to go to my roots. Latin America was completely colonized. We are a big mix of cultures. So I think that the first thing that I did was, okay, let's start connecting with the ancestors. The second book that I fully read complete from beginning to end, and it was actually quite recently, it was last year, a year and 2 months, was Spellbound by Jawon Koo. I do think that this is a wonderful book to start solidifying your path. And from there, I just opened a can of worms. Before that, I was taking classes with Jason Miller and all of that, but I just started solidifying more my path after these 2 books. And I will say that the very base that I have are these 4. Well, actually, I will say these 2 books first. American Brujeria by J. Allen Cross, and Queering Your Craft by Cassandra Snow. You can notice that I actually have a lot of spots and bookmarks. I do think that this is very beginner friendly, and it is very queer inclined, and American Brujeria very Latino inclined. So I do feel that definitely these fit perfect for to me, to as a person who I am, and the type of magic that I am inclined. These other 3 books are great too, but these are more recent. These are more recommendations for beginners, but we can touch upon this later on.
So much similar to Lala and AB, I was raised in the Catholic Church, and then my family switched to the Christian Church. Growing up within the church, I was always the kind of kid who liked asking why are things the way they are. I like deconstructing things and figuring out like, why are things constructed the way they are. Essentially, I like getting to like the root of things, which my religion teachers fucking hated.
They're like, don't question anything.
Yeah. I'm not going to say her name. It just irked me that like we weren't able to ask why, and that most adults at that time just weren't willing to even ask themselves that question. Kind of frustrated me.
Yep.
And a little while after some life-changing events, I came to realize that after some life-changing events, and also like learning more about different cultures and world history, I actually started to realize that the church wasn't as healthy as I was raised to believe. And upon being able to sort of start to like identify active features within the church and behaviors, I was like, you know what, I don't know if I really want to be a part of this. And that's when I started learning more about spirituality and other practices. And funny enough, I actually started off working with angels because I felt a connection to them. And that's when my pastor is like, you got to be careful. It's a slippery slope. And I was just like,
you're like, let's slide down that slope.
Yeah. And I was just like, angels is a slippery slope. Isn't that like part of this entire religion? Like, I don't understand. So I'm like, okay, you know what? And for me, that was a red flag. I was just like, if you're not even willing to even have a conversation about it, then it's worth investigating, in my opinion. So I investigated it, and sure enough, I was just like, okay, cool. So I don't want to be burdened by fear as a result of like a lack of understanding of things. So I want to understand the world around me, right? So upon my spiritual journey, I went through different spiritual communities, much like Lala, like starting off learning through meditation, which was a huge benefactor. That's not the right word.
It sounded like a word to
very,
me.
It was very beneficial for me. And I'm going to be quite honest. Meditation, I feel like a lot of seekers, a lot of like new witches will basically hear that being hammered home like meditation is important. It is. In my opinion and in my experience, I have to say that meditation is, especially if you're doing any energy work at all, any working with any spells, like, you know, it's important to be able to learn how to ground yourself and how to center. And you'll see that across like all of Tumblr, which was a main contributor to my early years. Still is, I guess, sometimes. You know, any resources will always tell you meditation's important. I do recommend it. If you need a good app to help you with meditation, and unfortunately we're not sponsored as of yet. Headspace is a great app that I like using. It's a free trial, but they have a lot of great visualizations. Yeah, so continuing on, like as someone who was queer and well as someone who is just like wanting to understand more, witchcraft kind of fit me quite well, because it gave me that tactile kind of like practice that I was able to actually see results, and that sort of fit properly within the niche that I was needing. So a lot of my early education was through the internet, so I don't have a lot of solid books for that. But some of the books that I have read since then and continuing within my practice, there's a couple ones, I have about 4 here that I would recommend. One sort of good starter book for anyone, and I'm assuming if you're listening to us, you've already had some sort of understanding or gathering of information through the online sphere somewhere. But one book I would recommend is Juliet Diaz's Witchery. This is a great book to sort of help you start off. It gives you a couple starter pieces like spells. It teaches you about how to create shrines and all that. So it's a great starter book. And it's not that expensive, thankfully, because I know, you know, when you're first starting out, there's definitely going to be, and I'm sure both of you can attest to this as well. Like, you know, when you first start off, people are like, I'm going to need this, like a cauldron, an athame. I'm going to need all these incense. I'm going to, you know, and you end up spending like hundreds of dollars or purchasing like a pre-made pack of witchy stuff and all that.
Yeah.
The thing is that witchcraft survived because it's designed to basically help support your personal growth, but also help you to survive. You know, we see in a lot of spiritual practices a focus on survival, like helping the crops grow, the rainfall, you know, the sun and the wheel of the year kind of turn. Basically, it's meant to help with the natural flow of things. So your practice shouldn't need any of those things. Is it nice to have those tools to help you give something to like give you something to like focus on or learn more about? Sure. But I wouldn't recommend having to like go out and purchase like a Damascus athame or anything like that when you're first starting, right? You know, the dollar store is like one of the best places to go grab stuff. And when I first started practicing, I would go to the dollar store all the time. Candles,
I still go.
Yeah, absolutely. The dollar store is great.
Like dollar store is great. Secondhand stores.
Yeah, I actually like Goodwill or
Yep.
Yeah, Goodwill, stuff like that. Great places to find resources, tools, you know, candles.
Candles.
And we can do like a whole sort of like thrift kind of like advice when you're looking for things at some point.
Absolutely.
Cheap
magic coming.
So other than Witchery by Juliet Diaz, who is an excellent author, and I will definitely be referencing any of her books in the future.
Yeah.
The next, much like AB stated, honoring your ancestors. Similar to Lala and AB, my family, we don't really have any traditions. The only thing my family has is the church. Any ancestral traditions or practices were basically like wiped away by that. And that, from a young age, has always drawn me towards ancestral veneration, is that this need to understand who my ancestors were and what we were like, you know, and that helped lead me into the practice of witchcraft, because understanding that it gave me a better understanding of where I came from and why I was drawn to witchcraft in itself. So definitely honoring your ancestors is great, even if you're not interested in practicing witchcraft or having some form of spiritual practice. This is great, even on its own. I do recommend this. It has some great information to help you start off as well within your spiritual practice. It doesn't expect you to be at a certain level, and these are certainly not advanced books. So this is my second recommendation. If you within sorry, my light keeps turning off. If you have already done some research and you are interested in going down the witch path, another book I would recommend if you're interested in looking for covens is A Seeker's Guide, Traditional Wicca, A Seeker's Guide by Thorne Mooney. I've definitely read this front to back, and it has a lot of great resources and information. Even if you're not interested in finding a coven, this is a great book to read. There's a lot of great information on it about the community and culture, about the origin of Wicca and all that, which is a large factor in today's witchcraft community. And the last book is a bit of an easier book. It's not actually a book to necessarily like teach you about your path, but if you're kind of wanting to like take a really slow dip into witchcraft, or if you like the aesthetic of it, or whatever's drawing you in, this one is High Magic's Aid by Sears. And it's a book I absolutely love reading. It's written in a sort of like Old English style sort of grammar. But once you adapt to it, it's actually a really fun adventure-filled book. So I definitely recommend this book. Yeah. So those are my book recommendations so far. There will definitely be more in the future.
Yes.
Yeah. So in continuing with sort of like looking at how our practices go about, the topic that most people will be sort of bringing up is like, well, how do you practice within your practice? What does that really look like for you? Of course, like we can only tell you so much about our practice because everyone's is very private and separate to our own personal development and growth. So are there any other like tools or any other resources that you like sharing, like decks or anything like that?
Yeah, so I was gonna take it away because I don't have much, like the both of you do. But I was so happy that AB Annabelle was able to give me this deck. And I think that's important, is that, someone that you care about and that cares about you, they gift you something and you can use it in your practice. So I love this deck. This is a tarot deck, and I am still a super novice to doing tarot. But I do appreciate it. I definitely do appreciate it. I am actually very interested in cards, playing cards that are used in hoodoo. A lot of hoodoo practitioners, they just use a deck of playing cards. So I bought a deck of bicycles. Now,
Nice.
I like bicycle because, they make cards. If you've ever played cards before, bicycle is the good brand to get. And now it's not just the red deck, the blue deck. There are so many different decks to choose from. So I chose this dark mode deck just because it's cute. And it's like, it has like a microchip, it's kind of like, techie. We live in a technology industry, and I always keep my computer on dark mode. So yes, I have not opened it yet. If you can hear, it's still in the plastic. Because I really want to charge my deck, bless my deck, whatever, terminology you want to use. I really want to go through a ritual of really preparing my deck. I felt so bad. We had a conversation one day, AB, on before, we started recording. And I was like, yeah, I learned that I should sleep with my deck under my pillow. No one has ever told me that. And AB's like, I told you that. I told you this. So I felt so bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, he did tell me that. So yes, that ritual involves with blessing the deck. I don't have the steps. I have to refer to the book step by step, but I'm gonna sleep with it under my pillow this is gonna probably be, I believe it's like a 7-day process of blessing the deck. So I'm excited about that. And then I don't have a deck of Oracle cards, but I'm definitely very intrigued by Oracle. So I will be purchasing an Oracle deck very soon.
Heck yeah. That's really cool. So AB, anything to add?
Oh wow. I mean, what tools? Certainly for me,
Big
tarot.
subject.
Yeah, it's broad. For me, tarot is a big thing. I think that actually, I don't know what I did. I apologize. Tarot, I think that it was definitely for me the gate, the door that led me into spirituality, because the first thing that I did, what? Oh, yeah. The first thing that I did was like, oh, I want a tarot deck. My mom will have killed me if I have a tarot deck. So why
it was
not?
About rebelling for you.
Let me be. Yeah, I was going through that phase, and since then, that immediately. So for me, tarot deck, my tarot right now, I have a deck over here. As you can see, this is actually an oracle card. But this deck over here is called Cherokee by Mr. Freeberg. Yes. And yeah, it's an incredible deck that I am currently obsessed with. And I also have a oracle deck which is called Purgatorium. And right now I feel that these cards reflect a lot how my practice is.
Titties, that's all I saw were titties.
Oh, absolutely. Free the nipple. That's what we believe in this household. But yeah, it's a very dark type of deck, and even the tarot cards that I have there are very light and dark, which I feel that is a great identifier of my current practice. I do think that I am walking a sort of gray path, if that makes sense. So yeah, that on that sense. I don't know. I was trying to focus the lens. But for me, what type of tools besides my tarot deck? And more than talking about all the tools that I have, I'd rather talk to the beginner Anibal, because I was that person that as soon as I had some money to invest on tools, I did. And now I look back, and I think, why did I spend all that money? I could have spent that money on books. I'd rather spend it on books.
Yeah.
So I will definitely begin with a form of divination that you like. If you connect with pendulum, do pendulum. If you connect with tarot, do tarot. If you connect with oracle, do oracle. My recommendation for new beginners, I made a video about it. I do think that the best thing that you can do if you want to learn tarot is get a Rider Waite deck. I do think that is easier to learn. But at the same time, if you just connect with another deck, it's better for you to be in love with your deck. Yeah. I think that is important than just push yourself to learn with a deck that you don't like. Yeah. More than spending money on a cauldron or anatomy, I will say, if you have a pot at home that you are not using,
a fireproof container, and please not glass.
Not glass.
Not glass. Stone or something else. And if it's metal, have like a hot plate, like a tile or something to put it on, and make sure you don't have anything flammable hanging around again.
Please.
As witches, we burn quite easily. So make sure that it's very fire safe. That's like the top priority you got to have when you're first starting out. Just got to say.
And good ventilation. If you are going to burn anything,
open a window,
sure that you have the open window.
Glass of water.
It's not necessarily the thing of, you have to open the window so the bad energy goes out. The bad energy does not need to go through walls. You create the layers. That I am a firm believer of that. But even so, you don't want to die. You don't want to suffocate. Open a window.
Yeah, so
Fire safety.
burning plants or other resins can create carcinogens, which is
Yes.
shit for your lungs and can poison you. So
Yes.
make sure that you're airing out your space. It can also be really harmful to pets. So make sure to do your research if you have any cats or dogs or any other animals in your space.
Yes.
Make sure to like double check
essential oils
essential
can
oils,
be very damaging to
anything they're
pets.
burning. Yeah,
And
anything.
also, do not place essential oils directly on your skin. Don't do that.
No.
There is a big culture situation going on right now where people are applying essential oils directly to your skin. It's not good to do so. You are damaging your skin. Always dilute your essential oils in carrier oil. You can use olive oil, you can use avocado oil, you can use any type of vegetable oil that you feel comfortable with. Coconut oil is amazing. You
Great
can
for
do
your
that.
skin too.
Great
Yes,
for your skin. So if you want to add 1 drop of essential oil in a good
all you
container of
need.
coconut, that's perfect. So I will say that because I made that mistake. I put essential oils on my skin. Don't do that. It's going to cause you the worst flare of eczema that I had. And I didn't know that it was eczema then. I thought that it was just a dermatitis. Well, X. Don't spend money on anatomy. Use a knife that you have at home. And if you have a knife that has been passed down from generations, we all have a knife that this is a knife that my mom used or whatever. Or we Latinos.
Even better.
Brooms, like you don't need to go and buy new stuff. Witchcraft can be very, very related to stuff that you already have at home. Bless and consecrate. And yes.
Or your own body. Keep in mind that like if you're working witchcraft, you have all the elements within you already.
Yeah.
And you can use your own body as tools. So you can use your fingers to like point
as
out and like create a circle as a wand or anatheme. You know, you can use your body to do the craft. You technically don't need any tools to do what you need to do.
Yep.
It's nice to have representations of the elements in the corners or anything like that, but you know, you can quite honestly just use your body, and that's what's great about it. It can be done on the go if need be.
And I think that's very important because people sometimes don't have that confidence in themselves. You know, they don't realize that the power is within you. That's one thing that I believe is that we are powerful. We are, you know, God or whoever you believe in, that power is within us. So be confident. Like you said, use yourself. Don't feel like you said, I have to have this cauldron and, you know, all this extra stuff.
I think that the layer more than the tools, I think that everything begins with the knowledge. And my first recommendation is always go to your root. You want to learn and practice witchcraft. Where is your root? What is your type of practice? Because not all the practices create circles or use athemies. In brujeria, they don't. I don't create circles as much because I don't do it often, but I do. But it's more like I learn about it. I use them. I felt that they worked. Ergo, I'm doing it, but I don't think that they are necessary. So that's what I'm trying to say. Go to your roots, find first what is the type of practice that you want to have, research, connect with your ancestors, and from there start building up your belief system.
Right. And I'm actually happy that you pointed out pendulums, AB. And speaking of the topic of like making things affordable, you can use pretty much anything as a pendulum. So if you have a necklace, like AB said, that's been handed down generation to generation and you wear it often, you can use that as a pendulum. You can use a special necklace that you've purchased as a pendulum.
You can use thread and a needle,
So something very simple. And I feel when we're all starting off, we're wanting to keep our practice private. Or some of us are starting off and we want to keep our practice private from the other people we live with, which is completely understandable. There's a lot of ways that you can have witchy things in your space without people actually seeing that it's witchy. A lot of it can be hidden in decoration. You can start a mineral collection for like crystals or other things if you want. Like AB said, having enchanted jewelry or rings is a great way to start. You know, oils or different salves, balms, things like that. There's a bunch of different places you can purchase from on Etsy. And speaking of purchasing as well, any of the resources that we suggest, any books or anything like that, I do personally recommend to purchase directly from the artist. So just quickly segueing, just quickly segueing to the first two decks that I'm going to be showing of mine, is the Urban Crow Oracle by MJ Cullinane, as well as the Crow Tarot by her as well. It's important that we support members of our own community, because we're in, modern economy. Everything has to be like buy, sell, sell, sell. We want to try, if possible, not to purchase from Amazon or any other large retail, because they're trying to horn in on our community and trying to take sales away from community members.
Mhm.
And in order for content creators, be it people who make healing balms or salves, or collect ingredients or things like that, or like provide resources like artists, or artists for like Oracle tarot card books, whatever, if you can purchase directly from the artist themselves on their website. So for example, like finding a website that is by or created by MJ to sell her stuff only, try and purchase from her directly. Same with any other artist. Go to your local occult or witch shops, purchase from them. If you can, try and purchase there. Because if we don't support our community, then those resources will run out, and then it'll just get lost in the myriad of
Well, now I feel bad because everything comes from Amazon over here.
Now here's the thing, like
we all use Amazon. I do
it's
think I do think
Yeah.
that it's important to mention we all do Amazon, and I'm a how can I say this? From the bad and the worst, always like try to pick the bad, if that makes sense. If you have to use Amazon because that's the research that you have available, by all means, go for it. I recently, and I'm talking on a personal experience as a person that also buy, because I still buy from Amazon. I recently decided to purchase a membership on Barnes and Noble. And now even Barnes and Noble is still 3 steps up on the ladder compared with a local witchy store, or even to buy directly from the author. But what is important here to mention is that we are aware that there are certain capitalistic forces playing that can actually cause more damage than benefit the authors and our witches. I am a firm believer, and you are going to hear this in all my social media, of supporting local witches, supporting your botanicas, supporting your witchy stores, your next door witch, and even us as practitioners. I always say, and you rarely will see me creating a spell and sharing it on social media about money, because I do not connect with money energy. I'm working on that. I'm learning on that. I connect with healing, I connect with protections, I connect with divination. That's what I'm going to share. When I need money, when I need to work on money, I'm gonna go to Connor. I'm gonna go to you. And we as witches, we as practitioners, we are not gods, even though we are connected with God, we are God or whatever. We are one manifestation of the multiple manifestations that exist, and we are not overpowered. There are areas in our life and in our abilities, as in everything in real life, that we are not good at. And that's why we rely on our neighbor witch. And I know that what I need my money candle. I'm going to go to my brujita, my next door witch. Hey, lady from the Botanica, I need you, I need some money. There's something going on, So what I'm trying to say is that understanding that we have these major forces playing against us, we are going to always try to support those that are in our level and providing knowledge and providing tools like the authors. So don't feel bad by buying on Amazon. There are things that we cannot control. I still buy from there, but when you can support directly the author, when you can choose to maybe spend an extra $5, but you know that those are well invested $5, go for it.
Absolutely.
And you'll be surprised the little stores that are just tucked right in your community. I mean, where I live at, I think there's 4 stores within a mile radius, and that just blew me away. So definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So continuing on, the 2 final decks that I actively use, I think use the most out of any of my divinatory tools, is the Druid Animal Oracle deck. And this is by Philip and Stephanie Cargom, illustrated by Will Worthington. It's a really beautiful deck. I definitely love it. And I just recently picked up its sister, which is the Druid Plant Oracle, which is also just gorgeous.
We love that.
Yes.
Absolutely love working with them. They're my favorite decks by far. But like AB said, there's many different tools of divination. So do some research, check out what's connected to your ancestral practice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and always sort of you know, be patient with yourself
Yeah.
when you're first starting off. You know, don't
It's
bite off
easy
more
to
than
get
you can chew.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
As someone who frequently bites off more than he can chew, I definitely recommend to be patient with yourself and try not to be hard on yourself. Remember, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
this is a journey. It's gonna last you your entire life.
Yes.
So, you know, don't beat yourself up if you don't get this, or if it's not working out. Be patient. Continue to
Yeah.
practice.
Still keep that confidence, Like I love how AB said, yes, we do have the power within us, through us. But we are not the alpha, the omega. We are not the beginning, the end. So we cannot control. We are cursed with that humanistic side, right? So we're not gonna live forever. We're not gonna snap our fingers and here's the money. But definitely
wish.
keep that. I know, right? Me too, because we would be rolling in the dough right now, baby. But yeah, definitely just keep that confidence, because that's what I hear sometimes is that, they're like, oh, I see social media can kind of, amplify that. Like, oh, I see all of these witches and they're doing this and they're doing great things. And remember, that is a media perspective, right? So behind the scenes, they may be, kind of struggling with something. And I think that's a good part of the journey, is seeing what works for you and what may not work for you. So then you can lean on another witch for help. So, yeah.
I think that is very important for that. I think that this is a very important element of your practice, or any practice overall. We are aware of where, no, I'm not going to call it weakness. I'm going to call it, you are aware of until where you are able to do something, and from where you need to start leaning on someone else.
Yeah.
And again, I'm trying to be very upfront. Money magic is not my thing. It hasn't worked. It doesn't work for me as well as I wanted to. There are major yet.
Yeah,
There are
yeah.
again, there are many energies that are bigger, and you have to be aware, where are you at with those energies. Even with healing, there's much influence that we can do as practitioners. There's always going to be a line where you know that you need to rely on your doctor, on a surgery, on
Yeah.
we have to be realistic. Science does not escape from witchcraft does not escape from science.
Yeah.
If anything, they go by hand.
Yep, absolutely.
Continuing on that, I definitely feel it's really important to have a balanced practice and a balanced perspective. Be realistic. Understand that, like, although witchcraft can definitely help influence and create a healthy life for yourself, that's supported and all that, it can't solve your problems with a snap of your fingers, right? Like, we have to be realistic. I see there are some unhealthy perspectives in the community where they feel, oh, witchcraft can heal my cancer and other stuff like that. And it's important to know that, like, mundane before magical. If you can find a way to solve your problem through mundane means, like, getting up the confidence to go and say what you need to say, or do what you need to do it first.
Yes.
I try and use my spells as support for what I try and do, but nothing's going to happen unless you actually physically take the step forward yourself to do it.
Yes.
And another thing to add, I would feel, I guess, just speaking to the newer practitioners, is that or perhaps to like some practitioners that have been in the been in the community for a while. It's important to take what people say with a grain of salt. Just because someone wears a fancy hat or has a fancy title doesn't mean that they actually deserve it,
That's
or
right.
they
Especially
actually,
in social media.
yeah,
Yep, they
especially in
could be
social media.
self-proclaimed, oh,
Absolutely.
who told you you were a high priestess? Did you tell yourself? So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that
it's
happens all the
important.
time.
And even with us, like, take us with a grain of salt. Like, don't believe 100% what we say. Take time to do the research yourself, because this practice is a research-based practice. You're going to have to look up the own information yourself. You're going to have to
Yes.
seek out the information. We can provide what resources we can,
Yes.
but ultimately it's up to you to practice, to take into practice, to analyze how you practice, whether or not it's a healthy practice or unhealthy, and the only way you're going to figure that out is by you doing it yourself. So we can provide some resources and some suggestions and our own experiences, but ultimately this is your path. We can't walk it for you, and we can't tell you necessarily how to walk it. You have to figure it out on your own, right?
Yep.
That's right.
Something very important, and I think that that's what changed my perspective of magic, is that make a clear distinction of the lines between fantasy and reality.
Yep.
Make a clear distinction with any type of practice, not only witchcraft, even religion.
Yes,
Overall,
yes.
there's a big difference between fantasy and faith. There is a big difference between faith and delusion. There is a big difference between actual spiritual experiences and psychosis.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we practitioners walk on that line very carefully, because it can be overwhelming and it can be confusing. And I think that our goal with this tool is to share knowledge and share experience, but not teach you, not as a teacher, it's more as a fellow practitioner. Hey,
Agreed.
this is my recommendation for you. This is what I experienced. I do see magic as an influence, and agreeing with Connor, and also something that Jason Miller did teach me when I was taking his classes. He used to say, never do something with magic that you can do naturally, as a person. If you are able to protect yourself as a human, you can use protection magic as an influence to overpower that protection that you are already executing. That type of situations, there are very we have to tread carefully those lines.
Yes.
I like to use the example of the job spell. If you make a spell to get a job, but you don't apply for those jobs, you are never going to get hired. They are not going to call you out of
That's
nowhere.
right.
Hey, here is the job. So, 100K per year. That's
No.
not going to happen.
No.
You cannot. Don't. Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
And I really think that's what, well, for me, that's what the practice is that whatever I want to achieve, I can use these things to aid me, to kind of to comfort me on my journey, to just, just be there. But I'm not just, like you said, just relying on, okay, I did this spell, they're going to call me. Well, how do they even know me, So, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I guess we're kind of transferring more so into the theme of like advice for beginners. So if you're very new, as you continue to follow along with our series, we're going to upload periodic videos, podcasts, where we're going to basically be talking about more in depth certain topics like protection, divination, sex magic, plants, etc. So there's going to be a lot for you to learn. So we can't cover it all in today's episode. But these are just some sort of general suggestions and tips to get started. So, yeah. Any other final resources you guys want to add? I know AB, you periodically will upload videos. So
Yes.
AB is a great resource to look into for some suggestions or for advice and to see how he practices, especially if you're a visual learner. You know, I have ADD. Visual learning is great. So being able to watch a video and see someone do something can really help cement it in your mind. So that AB is a great resource on that.
Thank you.
Are there any other like content creators that you would also recommend?
Oh,
Both of
wow.
you.
Yeah, but I don't know if you want to begin first, Lala. I do have a few content creators.
You go first because
That's a tough
yeah.
one.
Yeah, that's a
So I particularly I follow quite a few, especially again, I've had the opportunity to interview some authors. I've had the opportunity to connect with some others. Pretty much I will recommend the most part of the authors that I will be recommending. They have social medias that you can follow and learn more about their practices. Especially I will say Jawon Koo from Spellbound, the author of this book. She is incredible, and she focuses a lot on demonology. She focuses a lot on chaos magic, astrology, and human design. So she's incredible. Jason Miller, definitely more than a content creator, is an author. But he teaches great classes that you can find online. You can enroll in his courses. So yeah, that. Elohim Leafar, he is a Venezuelan American as well, author and content creator. He teaches a lot about different elements. Wow, Witch of Southern Light, who also released a book recently called oh my god, I'm blanking. Cunning Words. It's an incredible book, and I do recommend that book. And also The Witch of Wanderlust, who she began first as a YouTuber, witch content creator as well. And I do connect very well with them because they have very specific practices, very animistic, which is something that I do connect great with. But at the same time, they are very prone to offer resources and different authors and books so you can continue learning on your own pace. So I will recommend those. I also want to share this book that I wanted to bring specifically for beginners, A Practical Guide for Witches. Ilva, Mara, and forgive me, Ilva, I won't pronounce your last name because I cannot and I don't want to butcher it. Yeah.
Whiskey.
Yeah, Rad.
We'll put it down below.
I am going to take a photo of it. And the thing is that this particular book, A Practical Guide for Witches, I think that is a great beginner book because it gives you pretty much like witchery. It gives you teach you how to create your own meditations, how to create your ritual spaces. We love Juliet Diaz, and she also create content as well. So I guess that this is another one on the list. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and if you're interested in POC authors, Juliet Diaz just opened up a new publishing house.
A publishing house, yes.
What's the name again?
Oh, I have it over here. Give me a brief second. Oh, another author and content creator, Laura Davila. She's Mexican, so if you're Latino as me, Laura Davila is incredible. I love her with my entire heart and soul. So, yeah.
Spirit Brown Press, right? While we're finding that information to make sure that we can provide that, another YouTube
Spirit Brown
creator,
Press.
Spirit Brown Press for Juliet Diaz. I believe it's all POC authors, which is really cool because unfortunately there's a large, I guess, diaspora, maybe the right word. There's a lot of like white authors and a very tiny amount of POC. And, you know, there's unfortunately a lot of like white people writing information that's not culturally connected to them. Cultural appropriation is a huge issue. So I'm happy that Juliet has created a platform and a press that now prints books by specifically POC authors. So if you're interested in some good content, you can definitely check out Spirit Bound Press, and they already have a lot of great authors and books on there. Another source that I would recommend on YouTube that I quite enjoy, not only for the comedy but also for the content, is Chaotic Witch Ant. Frankie, I believe, is their name.
Yes.
They make a lot of great content, and what I really like about their content is they also go back and debunk their old videos and go, actually, this isn't right anymore, much like we're hoping to do, which I appreciate, because it's important
I appreciate that. To debunk those things. Absolutely.
Growth is very cyclical. It's important to shed our, past selves and re-educate ourselves about the community and other things going forward, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I came up with my list of content creators that I actually do follow. It's hard for me to think of these things at the drop of a hat. The first one I want to mention is Iyanla Vanzant. The reason why I throw her in there, Iyanla, she's not so much. Well, she is a high priestess, but she is more in the media for being a therapist, a psychologist, helping people get through their traumas. But what I love about her is that if you go way back to when she began, she identifies as a high priestess. I don't know exactly what she practices, but she is a big help if you are lost and you just need, to get back to where you need to be. And I think that's a big part of a spiritual journey, is to just be your pure you. You can't come into the practice having energies on you that you need to banish, to get off of you, right? So I think that she does great with that. The second is Yaki Awakened. I like Yaki because he is a scientist. So he really promotes people connecting with their true spiritual self. He's not so much a practitioner as far as his social media presence, but he definitely goes into eating properly, connecting, just being your true body that you need to be in order to be awakened. That's his name, so he's definitely a good one. And then I hope I don't slaughter these names. I am going to mention Kaba Kamin. I started following him on social media off of one of the books that I was looking into, spirituality before religions. So he posts great content every day. Really, really, really geared towards African Americans or Black people, but of course anyone can take his advice or his teachings. But I like that because for Black Americans, some of us may still be lost on, we don't even know where we come from, where our roots are truly actually from. So he gives great insight. And he just gives, great recommendations. And then finally, Mawia Bomani. I fell in love with Mawia Bomani. She is,
I love her.
Yes. She has some great content. She has a book that's coming out in November. I believe it's her first book, right?
If I am not wrong, it is. I haven't found any other of her. What is the name? Conjuring the Calabash.
Yes. And this is really empowering women with just she's really big on just empowering, I guess not women but alone, but she does speak to women and she knows about sex magic, and she's
Powerful.
she's
I
very
took a
informative.
I took a class with her, and I just have to say it. I love her. She's amazing. She's wonderful. I already pre-ordered her book.
Oh,
I
yes.
can't wait. And when I saw her class, I was like, oh, she has the same energy as Lala.
Yeah.
Like I was already biased. I already love her, and she probably thinks, oh, this dude is crazy, but I'm like, oh, she's like Lala. I love her.
I mean, I don't have to be in front of somebody to really understand their true spirit. And when I hear her speak, it just captivates me.
She's real.
She's real. She has great tonality. She seems like she's very patient, and
Yes.
she really wants to teach. So yes. So I follow her. I don't see much content that she posts. Maybe she has like a YouTube channel or whatnot. But yes. And then of course the suggestions that we make, we will share to where you guys can come back and reference them.
Yes.
And there's tons of more. And if I have more time to think of more, I probably, could come up with a whole lot more, but just get on social media, whatever you're looking for, right? Like if you're looking for witchcraft, type in witchcraft and you will probably get a lot of suggestions. If you're looking for, spiritual, just look, because that's how I found a lot of the people that I follow, is just by, searching, liking other pages and getting suggestions. I know not many people are on Facebook. I shouldn't say that because there's tons of people on Facebook, but like the younger generation, like us, we're not too big on Facebook much anymore. But Facebook has exploded with these groups. So I actually follow a lot of groups on Facebook, whether for spirituality, women's spirituality, Black witches, whatever is out there. And sometimes those posts will make your day, So yeah, just research. Like Connor said, that is the best way to start, is by just researching.
Yep. And also to add in another great resource, if you, similar to me, are interested in Gaelic spiritual or witchcraft practices, so being Irish or Scottish, I would definitely recommend, we're most specifically Irish, I'd recommend you check out the author Laura O'Brien. She actually has a website called the Irish Pagan School, where she posts a lot of great content. Her, along with John O'Sullivan and many other teachers at that school, they have a lot of videos, a lot of free content, but they also have a lot of paid content that hone in specifically on certain deities, like the goddess Brigid, who's like one of the primary deities that I work with, along with like how to have a healthy relationship, right relationship with yourself and with spirit, or with spirits of the land, and a myriad of other information. So definitely a great resource to check out. And I believe she is also opening another website focused on Ogham magic and Ogham runes and that kind of whole information regarding that. But she's really great. She does a lot of resources, and all the teachers there provide a lot of great resources there as well.
Awesome.
That is awesome. And you've been talking about Laura Bryan for quite a while.
Yeah.
So we know that she's real as well.
Yes.
Yes, she's absolutely great. Yeah. She also posts a lot of content on YouTube. So Irish Pagan School on YouTube has a lot of great videos there where they just talk. So great stuff.
Yeah, I did check that. I did check them out, and very, very interesting. Like you said, very informative. And I was like really pleased at how much information is available. And I really wish that more practitioners would create, a website or a YouTube channel or something to that magnitude, because it helps out a great deal.
Absolutely. Alrighty, guys. Once again, any comments, you can always submit them. Future episode, any questions, you could submit it to the Oaken Pie podcast. Let us know on our social media. And once again, thank you all for being here with us. I really hope you enjoyed listening to us as much as we did sharing and talking. Big blessings and
happy witching.
Happy witching.
We're gonna get it right.